Hi, everyone.
Hi.
We're here. Hooray. Says Michelle Ward at the top. And that's me. And then this is Lauren.
Hi, everybody.
Better known as Lola Falk.
Lola Falk, Lauren or Lola, either way.
Lolafalk.com. Arwen, would you mind putting in the chat Lauren's URL? That is where you will find her. She makes gorgeous, beautiful wallets, handbags, leather, colorful. Wait, take it. Let's show right now.
Example here.
Hooray! Oh my God, I love it. I should have brought my wallet. Over here, my little clutch wallet. I bought one for my mom. Amazeballs. And we kind of like, I met you because when I guest posted on Etsy, you like commented and I fell in love with your stuff. And I kind of stalked you. And then when I found out you were a local Brooklynite,
Yeah.
I
was
was
like, we gotta have lunch.
We gotta have lunch. And then I think I forced you to have lunch with me, and now we're friends. Yay, my evil plan worked.
Yeah, twisted my arm.
Yay.
No, total serendipity.
Oh my God. Well, I love it. I love it. I love your stuff. I love
Thanks.
you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
Feeling is mutual.
It. I love. We're kind of wearing the same color. And I'm Michelle Ward for When I Grow Up Coach. I'm at whenIgrowupcoach.com for those that don't know me. And Grown Up Gigs is my Choice monthly Spreecast series where I wanted to have an inside look at dream jobs held by real people. So knowing Lauren's journey from corporate America and advertising into, I loved how you said it on Twitter, corporate hell into handbag heaven. Something like that.
Corporate cubicle drudgery. Yes. Handbag making heaven.
Yes. Perfect. So that is what we're here to talk about today. You guys will see on your Spreecast that there's like a submit question button, and we will stop periodically and take questions. Hooray. So we encourage you to just ask them whenever they pop up. Just write it on out and click submit, and we'll see it behind the scenes. And I don't know, every so often when we feel like it's natural, take a bit of a break. We'll answer questions instead of like waiting till the end. So please, please, please don't hesitate in doing that. That's one of my favorite things. That's why I do this live as opposed to just like Lauren and I getting on Skype and you recording it and then boring.
Yeah. No, we want an interactive presentation. Yeah. I want to hear all your questions, and I'm prepared to give you what I call the good, the bad, and the gloriously ugly of doing what you love for a living.
Yay! I love it. That's going to be tweetable, by the way. When we talk about the recording, it's definitely going to be like, at Lola Falk gives us the good, the bad, the gloriously ugly of doing what you love for a living. So I have to start with my question that I feel like I'm like bound by law to ask you this question.
Okay.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, like at what age?
I don't know. Or like when you were little, what do you remember when you were younger?
You know, it's funny. I've been asked this question before, and I feel like I wanted to be something like a fireman or a firewoman, because my dad and my brother later were firefighters. I wanted to do something anti-girly, construction worker, firefighter. I feel like it was something,
tomboy.
Yeah, something along that line. So if you'd asked me when I was 5 years old, handbag designer / leather goods designer would not have.
No way. Up. Okay, so give us our background into that. Tell us how then you found in a shortish version.
Sure.
How you found your way from firefighter, construction worker to handbag designer. That has to be quite like a little journey.
Yeah, quite a segue. Yeah. So really, I have always known myself to be somebody that liked to work with my hands, that liked to be creative, create things. So when I was a teenager, I got into painting and oil painting. And actually, when I first went away to college, I majored in painting. I really just shouldn't have gone to college in the first place. I think I just thought, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know I like to paint, so I'm going to major and go to a college. It wasn't even an art school. It was a regular, state university. Did that for 2 years, and then I took my break from school to really get myself together and figure out what I want to do. So when I did go back to college, to university, I majored in Spanish and minored in marketing. I really liked studying the language of Spanish, and then marketing actually came about because I was dating somebody that worked at an ad agency, and he told me, if you don't know what you want to do with that Spanish degree, advertising's a fun field to be in, and marketing is a good, well-rounded minor to have that can really kind of open doors to anything you want to do. basically.
As you roll your eyes. Wait, I just want everyone to know Lori just kind of rolled her eyes while she said that in case you couldn't see it.
Clearly he knew that I had no clue still what I wanted to do. So, but it's actually some of the best advice I ever got. Mm-hmm. So when I graduated from college in 2001, I went straight into the advertising industry. At that time, I was still, as a hobby, painting and just doing fun little creative projects. I always liked to redecorate my apartment, paint it crazy colors, build furniture in a very, very novice, primitive way, but just do little creative things like that. And then trucking along for several years in the advertising industry, which was a lot of fun. Being at the junior level was so much fun because basically it was hanging out with my friends in a super creative environment and then going out and having drinks.
Which is perfect when you're in your 20s. Like, what more do you want?
Is, right. It is. And really very little responsibility, learning some basics about business and marketing, but really just knowing, like, just kind of cruising along and making good money. And so right around the time where I had been in the industry enough, like 4 or 5 years, where they're like, okay, you need to really start thinking of management level roles. And that's where, and I started being put into positions of, you need to start coming up with strategic proposals and start owning client business and all of these things where I'm like, all right, this isn't fun anymore. And this really is not what I want to do. I don't want to have to take work home with me. I want to be able to leave at 5 o'clock every day, go have drinks. And still continue the party. So I transitioned to a couple of different agencies, and with each one that I left and went to, it just got worse and worse. It got to feel more like going into work every day was just dragging myself to go in there. No passion for what I did. It got to the point where the last agency that I worked at when I lived in Dallas, which was back in 2006, I was so apathetic, and they in turn were pretty apathetic there. I would call in sick just to stay home and work on my own little projects, painting or whatever. So fast forward to 2007. I never knew how to sew, never had any desire to learn, went on a quick family vacation back to Detroit. My mom taught me how to sew, and I'm like, oh, I'll learn, I'll do some fun stuff. For some reason, I just thought it was just having fun. So much fun and I started making these little tote bags, and then I went home and I bought a sewing machine, and it just kind of turned into something that I was doing every day. Couldn't wait to get home from work and start doing these bags. So, and actually I have a little timeline here to sort of jog my memory.
I love it too, the timeline, and we have show and tell too. It's awesome.
So anyway, so 2007, I start learning how to sew. I also at this time discovered Etsy, the online marketplace for handmade items. I signed on as a buyer. I wasn't selling anything yet, but what it did was open my eyes to see other people making things and selling things. And around this time too, I started reading a lot of blogs of creative people. And I remember around this time, this was when Tara Gentile was just Scouty girl. She wasn't doing consulting. And I remember reaching out to her and having her feature some of my bags on her blog and feeling like, wow, this is the big time. Yeah. And then just reading about other people talking about doing these things that they love, whether it was creatively putting together content on a blog or painting or sewing or whatever. So I'm getting the bug. I want to do this too. So basically 2008, I start selling on Etsy, very basic, primitive handbags. And I actually bought an example. This is one of the very first bags that I made.
Yeah, there we go.
Very simple. I think it's taffeta, no lining on the inside. And this is actually my first, here we go. My first hang tag that I made.
Yeah, perfect.
But anyway, super rudimentary, but I was so proud of them. I thought they were fantastic. And so I started going to outdoor markets in Dallas, the craft fair, stuff like that. Didn't really make any sales, but was having fun. Still working at that agency and feeling miserable. As we get on to 2008, 2009, I'm getting more and more discontent. And at that time, the guy that I was dating moved to New York, and so I started getting the thought maybe I might want to move there too. Things are getting so bad at my job that I'm actually calling in sick now, multiple days. I'm basically begging them to fire me.
Right.
And they're not firing me. I would go to work and nobody would even. It's almost like I didn't have to show up. Nobody would know that I was there or not.
So this was pre-recession, like pre-economy?
This was 2009. So
wow.
And layoffs were happening.
They liked you.
I think they just didn't realize I was there. But anyway,
it's amazing.
The thing about that though is I'm the kind of person that wants to feel good about what I do. So it didn't feel good to be going in every day and getting paid to just sit there and be ignored and know that I contributed nothing of value to this agency. They really didn't. They cared so little. They didn't even know I was there. Or they didn't know if I didn't show up. Apparently the message I sent out to the universe finally clicked because I got laid off in October, which was 2 months prior to when I was planning to move to New York anyway. I got laid off, I got severance, and they also paid me through the end of the year, and then the severance would kick in after. Wow. So it was really just
a gift.
A gift.
Yeah.
Moved to New York in 2010, and that's when I thought, okay, this is my, I need to kind of figure out what my plan is here. I did have to get another job at an ad agency in New York just for the simple fact that it's the only way you can get an apartment. It's the only way that you can actually get, established here. So that was probably the best thing that ever happened because I worked there for only 4 months. It was the worst job ever. It was just, think of the worst nightmare job, horrible boss, being talked down to condescendingly, working my butt off, but being told that everything I did was good enough.
Right.
Just a nightmare.
Fun.
But it worked to my advantage because it basically gave me the proverbial balls to just say, you know what, I don't care if I'm eating beans out of a can. I don't care if I'm begging for money on the street. I can't do this anymore. So I quit. And at this time too, I should say that I'm progressing with sales on Etsy. It's definitely nothing I can make a living off of. But things are getting better in that sense. I'm evolving. I'm actually making stuff that people want to buy. But still, it's not full-time business by any means. So what do I do? I need some money coming in. So I decide that I'm going to use this extra time to really just put forth all the effort that I can all the time with marketing efforts, with going out and doing markets like the Brooklyn Flea and Hester Street, but also get another side gig, which in retail, because retail would also sort of teach me about some other aspects of selling, of marketing a fashion product.
It's smart. Wait, I'm stopping you there because I just think it's so smart to know if you need to get a job to pay the bills, you get one that at least is giving you some sort of skill that's going back into whatever whatever career you're looking to change and transition into.
Absolutely. So, and that was a strategic choice. It was, I was lucky that I got the job, and it was actually at Lululemon. It was strategic for multiple reasons. I'm into health and fitness, and it's a very health and fitness focused company, so I knew I would enjoy the company there. I knew I'd be selling a product that I believed in and worn and could fully endorse. And also, I was able to work out free at a lot of places around the city, which is great because I couldn't afford a gym anymore. But also, they're very supportive of people following their goals and their dreams. And you're actually required to make a plan.
So cool.
And set up your goals, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. So I learned a lot about goal setting and, basically planning that out, and also, figuring out what is it that you want to do and really implementing the strategy for it and believing in yourself to do it.
I love that they don't make you hide the fact that you have other ambitions.
No,
like from what I hear with Lululemon, it's not, your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10-year goals. And I think a lot of people feel pressure to be like, to be a vice president of Lululemon or like a yoga teacher or something. Yeah. Do X amount of money in sales. Like they encourage you to talk about your handbag business and
not only encourage that you have to write them out, print them out on a piece of paper, make them pretty, and put them up on the wall there so that you can be held accountable for them, so people can see them. Basically, Lululemon, so also learning the retail aspect of it, it fit in with my lifestyle, but also I needed to be taken care of after getting my butt beaten every day for 4 months at this horrible ad agency. I just felt so mentally dragged down and so low. And Lululemon was like a hug after being treated so shabbily for 4 months. So it gave me the boost that I needed, and also just some money to kind of float me through. And also it was like training wheels for doing my own business because it was significantly less money than what I was making. It wasn't a salary job; it's hourly wage. A lot less than what I was making at the ad agency. But there was a lot I could cut out too. A lot of superfluous expenditures. So Lululemon, I was there for 1.5 years, and then I actually quit and started doing this full time. It was Thanksgiving of 2011. That's kind of when I felt like Lululemon was great, but it it got to the point where it was taking more time away from me being able to work on and grow my business. And it was time to just and also that was a strategic plan too, to quit around Thanksgiving because the holidays are by and large the best time in retail. I knew I would be getting a huge amount of money coming in with all the holiday markets I would be doing with online sales with the holidays. It's just it's
right.
Not to say that I can just sit back and relax, but it almost just happens by itself, with very little marketing in a way.
Which is great because I talk about an effective escape all the time. And what I mean by that is like, what do you need to do to actually set yourself up so you can leave that day job or cubicle job or whatever and actually go out on your own and not feel like you're leaping off a cliff. So it sounds like it was almost kind of the things that would make you comfortable are the fact that like you knew the time of year you were going to get, it was like the best time of year, you're getting the income in from your handbag business.
Yeah.
And it also sort of felt like emotional. Like, I'm ready. Now I'm ready.
It was, a lot of times what people ask me when I tell them my story is, how do you know when is the right time to quit? You will know. Because I thought I wanted to quit for like 2 years and two and a half years that I was in advertising. I just wanted so badly every day to quit, to just walk in and be like, screw you guys, I'm done. And what's funny is, if I ever did quit anywhere in the past, if I had that attitude, when I would go in, I would actually feel horribly guilty quitting. It's almost like, can't burn your bridges or just leave in that angry way. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, you will know. There will just be a point, like when I quit the ad agency in New York, the 4-month one that treated me, it was the worst experience.
Abusive.
It was abusive.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
No, really.
Yeah. I remember it was, I'm not going to say what agency it was, but it was by the High Line in New York. And I remember the High Line was my quiet place where I would go if I needed to stress and was hyperventilating and needed to put my head between my knees and take a break.
Wow.
And I remember going out into the High Line and it just was in my head. I'm like, you have to quit. You have to quit, and you're going to do it next Thursday, which was maybe like 5 days away. So not even like a big notice, but I knew I had to do it. It's kind of melodramatic, but it felt like a matter of life and death. I felt like this is affecting my health. And
when you're that drained and you're being that abused and you're waking up every morning and going to bed every night with a pit in your stomach, you just thank God you did that for yourself, because I think a lot of people just feel like they're stuck.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hear over and over again, the economy is terrible, there are no jobs out there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that. I have a series on my blog called The Recession is Bull Honky. And I'm not saying that it's bull honky, like totally. I know the recession exists and there are limited jobs out there and it's hard to find it, but I hear stories all the freaking time. Like, if you are being this abused, this is not worth it, spend your time and energy getting out of that situation.
Yeah.
And finding anything else that could satiate whatever it is that you need. Because people are finding jobs all the time. They're out there. So.
And the thing is, it's not just like they're magically finding them. What was also part of that process too of having that moment of knowing that I was ready to quit was also knowing that I had like a talk with myself for about 45 minutes, and I said, I know I am 100 and however many extra percent ready to put in the hard work and the sacrifice and the labor to make this happen or die trying. Without a doubt, I knew I had that in me. So, and it has been that. It has been nonstop work, but it has been work that I would do for free.
Right.
Because I love it.
Right.
So.
Right. And sometimes we can't do it for free. We're grown-ups, and like you need to pay rent on your expensive Brooklyn apartment.
Yeah.
And bills and
annoying stuff, taxes.
Oh, all of those fun things that just pop up all the time. But there are things that just I feel like shouldn't be tolerated, and when you're getting treated in such a way that is so abusive and draining, and I mean it affects all areas of your life.
Yep. So, no, it's nothing is worth making yourself sick over. And I'm not the kind of person that panics easily, but I was having panic attacks every day, and I didn't realize it was a panic attack until like the fifth or so time it happened, and I'm like, how come every time the same day I start feeling like my face is flushed, my neck is prickled, I can't catch my breath, and I just feel like my head's going to explode, and it's a panic attack.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, to hear you say I go to the High Line and put my head between my knees, like, It's a wake up call. It's a wake up call. My wake up call was like having to run off the subway on my way to work and dry heave into the trash can at Union Square.
Yeah.
Like, that's my infamous story.
That's your sign.
That's your sign. That's your sign. And hopefully, like, if you're aware of it, you don't even let yourself get to that point.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Sometimes it takes that push. And then even like with quitting Lululemon, I wasn't that extreme.
Right.
It was more, I just started, Lululemon was such a great place to work. I felt like giving my all every time I went in there. But when it got to the point where I felt like I was dragging myself to go in there, I wasn't giving my all, and these people were treating me so well, and the employers and everything. And I thought, I know I don't care anymore. So it's time to move on. Right. That was the sign for that.
Yeah. I just want to take a quick chance to just tell anyone, especially people who just joined us, hi. Hello. Please don't be shy to submit your question. Just hit submit question. I think that's what it says on your screen, and you know, ask Lauren anything that you want to ask her. But at this point, and we would love to take some time out and answer your questions as they come up. So don't be shy. It'll be exciting.
No worries.
Yay.
Yeah, but you know, and I guess kind of to maybe fill in the gaps a little bit until we get some questions coming in. You know, it's been a work in progress. I know it's easy to talk about like, oh, I quit my job and I'm doing this for a living. Yeah. I'm still working at it. There are still daily issues that I face. There's still financial issues that I face. There's constant challenges, and the business is growing. You know, I just finished up income taxes, and on one hand, I was really happy and proud to see that I made a profit last year. It was the first time that I made a profit, so it was like, yay! But then I got to pay taxes on it. Boo! So, you know, so it's been, everything is still a learning experience, and it's adjusting to that, and also figuring out how I have to start factoring that in. You know, I feel like I've looked a lot towards other people's examples, but I feel like, you know, I feel like in trying to look and see other people's stories on the internet, check out blogs or people's, you know, on Etsy, they have the quit your day job story. I have a hard time with those because I feel like you get the very quick snapshot, you get the pretty fluffy version, and you also, I don't know, I just feel like you're not getting like the down and dirty nitty gritty. And so, you know, what I'd like to do is, you know, if anybody's got questions about that, like what are some of the hard aspects of this? I can say, at least from my perspective right now, you know, some of the challenges that I face is, you know, I'm my own boss. I run my own schedule every day, and my studio also happens to be where I live. So,
and it's a studio.
It is. It's a studio apartment.
It's not a house with a studio. It's a studio apartment with a studio.
Yeah, Michelle's been there, and I've hosted people over there.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. You know, it's a squeeze.
Yeah.
It's a little snug in there.
Cute. I love it.
But, you know, my reality, too, is that I live in, I would say like a 450 square foot space, and I would say about 60% of it, 70% of it daily, and this is not what you see, or anybody is workspace. Right. I sleep on a couch bed. I don't have a bed. There's no room for a bed. So I fold up my bed every day, and then I've got an industrial sewing machine in there. I've got a regular commercial machine. I have a cutting table set up. I have my little office area set up. With my laptop, and then I do a lot of my cutting and laying out of bags and material and stuff on the floor. It works, but it's also really hard to know when to stop every day. And I work every day, and I could just keep going every day. And one of the challenges and one of the things I'm trying to implement now is actually having a work day set up where I start at a certain time, I stop at a certain time. So I've been trying to get myself into that type of routine. But it's necessary because it's starting to stress me out to, you know, just keep working all the time.
What do your days kind of look like now? Is there a usual structure that you feel like, oh yeah, this is usually how?
Yeah, and it changes throughout the year just depending on like what's going on. So like January through March and even a little bit in April. So right now, I'm not doing any type of like markets or trunk shows. It's just really not the season for it yet. I've been focusing a lot on online sales. So I've been home a lot. I've been in the studio a lot, working on new designs. So basically my day, exercise and working out is really important. So I'll get up in the morning. It has to be done in the morning. Get up in the morning and do that. Then come back, have breakfast, And then I'll either get started working and just keep going through the day until what I'm trying to do is hit a stopping point now at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And then if I need to do a little bit of administrative work, try to slip that in the middle of the day or towards the end, because sometimes I don't really mind working on things like Facebook, social media, stuff like that.
Right.
At night, and sometimes I just have the creative energy for it then.
Yeah.
But but then there's sometimes I got to run out to the garment district to pick up some materials. I have to go, to a boutique and drop off an order, meet with other designers, so it's kind of a mixed bag, which is what I like.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like at this point, from what I know about your business, it's like a mix of online orders, wholesale stuff, and then shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So different markets and whatever, depending on the season.
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to play around with right here now, my ideal would be to have most of my sales coming from online, just direct sales. It's the easiest way to do it. Doing the markets, like outdoor markets, which would be, coming up in the next few weeks and then all the way through summer and in fall. I used to try to do those every weekend. Those are so there's so much work, a lot of physical labor, and also it's you're wondering, you're dependent on the weather.
Right.
It's a crappy day, you're gonna have crappy sales.
Right.
Some days my customers are there. Some days it could be super busy, but no one's buying. Fish aren't biting. So I really am trying to be more strategic and do fewer of those, but do the ones that really bring in a big crowd. So
interesting.
if anyone's in the New York area, I'll be at Crafts on Columbus, Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, good.
And a few more. I'll update them on my website. So if you do live in the area and you want to come out and say hi or check out the merch, or even just chat shop or whatever, come out and visit me then. Love meeting new people. So
perfect. And we have our first question, I think. Yay. We have a bunch of questions. Yay. Okay, this is from Aggie, who is local. Hi, Aggie. She says, isn't this so cool? I'd love to hear about the nitty gritty, especially financial aspects. Sounds like you had an aha moment when you quit and you figured out a business plan or where you needed to be with your sales finances before you quit. And if yes, how has that changed? Whew, that's a lot. Okay, so let's start with the
financial
aspects and like
question.
Business plan.
So business plan, I have a business plan, but it's an outdated business plan. It's a very loose business plan. So I never really had something set up that I could like take to the bank for a loan. And in fact, I haven't gone to the bank for a loan ever or needed to, or anything for like, big time investors.
That's a big piece. So where did you, I mean, I know it's your money, obviously. Is there a separate account? Is there the money that comes into Lolafalk goes out to Lolafalk?
It's a mix of money that I had saved up, money that came in while I was working at Lulu. And then when I quit Lululemon, I had enough coming in. And then, so here's kind of how it works too, is in what I do, it's not a steady income. It's not a steady check coming in every week. It's feast or famine, basically.
Right.
So you get like holiday markets, for example, are, like over 50% of your income, at least so far for me. I mean, so it's, you bank this big bunch of money and then I have it set up and saved up. Yeah.
Like all year, right?
Well, not all year, but really just for January, February, and March, and a little bit of April. And what's tough about those times is that it's tax time. It's slow sales. Although I've been kind of changing things around a little bit and actually sort of changing that pattern post Christmas and leveraging, people that found me over the holidays and ramping up some sales that way. So it's playing around with that strategy too, but really it's just been large chunks of money that have come in through holiday. It is the holidays, like Thanksgiving through Christmas is the big payday. Summertime goes fairly well, and then even fall too. But yeah, it was, it's tight. It's not, I have no savings. I'll be perfectly frank about that. It's probably I'm not gonna be able to start putting money back into a savings account until like this year. But it's been a couple of years, and it's lean. And I don't, I hate to say it, it's not like I don't have a life. I have friends that I go out with, but most of my friends and my circles of people, and this is just kind of by nature too, do something along the lines of what I do. They're kind of doing this for a living, so we're all, mutually poor.
At the same time.
Yeah.
You know, January to March, you're probably all just going to each other's houses for potlucks.
I don't enjoy the typical New York lifestyle. But I also am not somebody that feels like I'm missing out by any means either.
Well, and this is a big reason why you're one of the first people I asked to be on Grown Up Gigs, is because I know that there have been ebbs and flows for you, and there are times where like things are great, and then other times like there's something happening, and kind of learning that lesson and being honest with that.
Yeah.
Opposed to like what Lauren spoke about before, which is like what you see on the blogs, all the unicorns, rainbow sunshine, and it's still enough that. I mean, you've been living off of what you've been making since November of 2011.
Yeah.
Full time. And I know that recently you said like, oh, maybe I'm going to go get another retail job part time while the time is slow.
And I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah, because it's actually, you know, just kind of continuing a little bit with the financial aspect of it. So you have to develop a stomach for the lean times and also just start to understand the pattern of money flowing in, at least from my perspective. What I do is, you know, product-based business. I know how it goes, and I know that there are going to be times when the money's really coming in, and I allocate it accordingly and save it up and bank it for when the lean times come in, because it's hard. It can be really hard sometimes where I'm just doing all kinds of like crazy math to figure out how to pay bills. I mean, I'm being totally honest. There are some months where it is a struggle. I make it though. I just make it. And what's also important too is that like I don't stop moving. I don't stop constantly thinking about different ways and strategies for promoting my business. So even in a way, when the money is tight and I'm stressed out and panicking, that's actually when things kick in where I'm like, okay, I need to stand on my head and look at this differently and figure out what am I not thinking of as a channel for income. Do I need to do a promotion? Do I need to do a coupon? Do I need to, you know, reach out to, you know, repeat customers, or, you know, just those are some lame examples, but I mean, really,
they're not lame examples.
Really, just like
those are things that go on the back burner, I think, a lot of the time because they're not high on our priority list.
Yeah.
High on our priority list are like the client orders we're doing for that. So to be able to take a step back, especially if you know that like January to March there's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
Be a great time to know this is where I'm putting these filters in place or these systems, or this is when I'm getting the part-time job to just have some structure and get out of my house and not feel like, you know, it's famine time.
Exactly. And so I actually have taken on a little part-time job, just one day a week, helping a friend out at her boutique. But it's very, what's nice about it is it's so quiet there. I take my laptop and I do a lot of administrative work. But it goes to show that, you know, yes, I'm doing this full time, but sometimes you need a little help, and that doesn't mean failure. It doesn't mean you're not hacking it. It's, you know, I'm giving myself a little extra fluidity with money right now. Just, you know, doing this one, and this is exactly what I need, is just one day a week. And, you know, maybe I'm hoping I can keep it throughout the year, but I have a feeling things are probably going to get a little bit busier and I might not be able to keep doing it. But, you know, that's another important point to bring up too, is that you can do what you're doing full time, but then if you need to do something else for a little bit of help, if it's jiving and if it's not making you feel bad, that's definitely not a setback. One thing I will say though about the finances too, because I know that's a sticky question. It's really, I'd love it if there could be like a clear cut plan that I could show you guys. I'm buttoned up in the sense that I'm aware of what's coming in, what's going out. I'm not one of those people that had a specific hardcore plan written out. I would say a lot of it was, I know this is going to be hard work. I'm willing to put the effort in to find the people who can help me out with the things that I don't understand. You know, talk with people who've been through it. Find your circle of people that, you know, that understand. And that, you know, I've relied a lot on the advice of other people, and also just, you know, like I said, my circle of friends are people that do what I do. So it's a lot of sharing of information and figuring out how to negotiate things, especially when it gets complicated with stuff like taxes.
Is it safe to say that like having support, whether it's emotional support, financial support, like what's gonna support you is a pretty good question to ask yourself.
Yes.
Oh, how are you going to be supported? How do you need to be supported?
Yeah, and I can't emphasize enough how much community, finding your peers with what you do, even if it's not exactly in the same category, like, you know, Michelle. Talk about her
yeah.
So Michelle, you know, and I've known each other for a couple of years.
Oh my God, I can't believe it already.
it's sort of expanded. You know, you kind of spearheaded the whole thing, but you knew several different, you know.
Yeah, I knew like creative women who lived in Brooklyn who were either entrepreneurial or were striving to be entrepreneurial. And I said, we all have to meet each other. So I was very mean and bossy. Like I forced you to be friends with me. And I was like, everyone has to meet each other. Let's go to this place. And we all went to brunch at a restaurant. Oh my gosh. And after like 2 hours, they were about to kick us out.
Yeah.
And we were not done talking. So once a month, we travel to our different apartments and someone hosts every month. And they're the ones in charge of the brunch for that day, and we sit there for like 4 hours.
Yeah, and talk, you know, some personal stuff, but really a lot of it just has to do with, you know, maybe issues you're dealing with our respective businesses, and we all come from different backgrounds. I think I'm the only one in the group that has a product-based business. I think everybody else is mostly services.
True.
Yeah,
I think that's true.
You know, that makes no difference because we're all in the same boat in the sense that we have this thing that's so important to us, this thing we're all trying to make a living off of. So I can't emphasize finding your peers in your community enough.
Yay. Let's move on to the next question. Thanks for asking that, Aggie.
Yeah, thanks.
Kat, I love this. Hi, ladies. I'm feeling so inspired. Jump in the net will appear. Thank you. I just had to put that on the screen. That's exciting.
Keep on jumping because there's going to be a lot of jumping and a lot of nets. So it never stops. But
and here's a question from Kat.
Okay.
Did you reach out to magazines or bloggers for reviews and editorials? If so, did they help? Oh my God, such a big thing, right? Marketing efforts and like what actually helped you.
It is, and I'm glad you brought this up because this is something that I'm revisiting now, as we speak. So things have evolved with my business, you know, just in terms of improving my product, you know, starting off with those basic little handbags, and now I work full scale, all leather. And, you know, I've priced it accordingly, and I'm trying to position myself more in, I wouldn't say high fashion, but more just like in the fashion world, less in the crafty Etsy world, more in actually, you know, fashion. And so I'm trying to now, like initially when I started off, I did reach out to bloggers like Scouty Girl and some others. This was many years ago, though. It's kind of been a while since I've reached out to any. But right now I'm in the process of compiling a list of potential bloggers and websites and online magazines that I want to reach out to. I think it does help. I think it's a challenge to get featured because they get hit hard with a lot of people submitting. So you need to be on your game about how you submit to them. So do your research, make sure you're finding relevant blogs and online magazines, and you know, do a background on it. Make sure you know they're aware that you know who they are and what they do, and that whatever it is that you're submitting is relevant, and why is it relevant, and what's so great about your product. These are all things I'm working on, you know, right now. And in fact, this topic came up with another group of business cohorts that I go with. And are there some links we can post after?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you read the I think it's on Design Sponge. It might be, she's got her business tips page, and I think there was a whole list of craft blogs that you could submit to.
Oh,
so
cool.
If anyone would be interested in that, I'd be happy to pass that link along. But and it's also advice too about how to properly submit to a blog and what they speak to actual popular bloggers and what they're looking for. I mean, that's stuff I still to this day read and heed that advice.
Has that helped you? Like when you got featured, did you notice a bump in sales or traffic or blah, blah, blah?
I'll say this. I bought an ad once on a really popular lifestyle blog called A Beautiful Mess. It's great. They get so much traffic.
Yeah.
So I actually paid for a spot. I, in turn, got tons of traffic to my website. I can't attribute any sales that came to it. I really, if any did, it might have been one or two. But there's just, I wouldn't say no. I think timing has a lot to do with it because I bought the ad. I think it was in March of last year, so it's some slow retail time. But the thing about stuff like that too is advertising is big, you know, on all levels. And it sounds silly to say that, but it kind of, I got hit over the head with it last year because I used to do things like the Brooklyn Flea and these outdoor markets. And
you were there every week.
Yeah, and you know, and I didn't have a great year at the Flea last year, and I was so frustrated, and I'm like, what a waste of money, what a waste of time, cab fare, all that stuff. And then what I found, weirdly enough, is some of the sales that I got in January and February of this year, people actually offered up and they said, I remember you from the flea last summer and I've been meaning to buy something and now I'm ready to buy. And I'm like, all right. So these are the things you got to think about too. I definitely think it's worthwhile to get featured on blogs and reviews and editorials. What I don't think is worth it is if you do a product, if people, unless it's like Lucky Magazine, don't send samples. I think it's a waste. And unless you know that they're getting tons of traffic and it's a super popular blog, or like Design Sponge. But like sometimes you'll get people saying who have a blog and they want you to send a product. I'll do a review of your product. It'll be great. And it's not worth it unless it's a really big media vehicle. So
same thing with giveaways. Have you ever done giveaways before?
Yeah,
that's starting to get kind of popular now.
Yeah, they could work. I personally, I think it just depends. It depends on the blog. If it's like a Design Sponge or something that, a beautiful mess or any of those blogs that are getting like millions and millions of hits every month. Do it. Do it. But don't do it for some rinky dink little I wouldn't. That's just me.
Right.
Personally thing.
And it seems the way to really, I don't know if leverage is the right word, or to really like capitalize on the money that you're spending is if it got you a lot of traffic, it didn't get you a ton of sales, but maybe it's people that are just now, like they just discovered you and they're not ready to buy something yet, but you want them in your filter, for lack of a better word, just one word, like that. But then maybe like I need to have a newsletter list. I need to, what do I want people to do if they're not going to buy something? Where do I want them to go? And kind of have a way to collect those leads as opposed to just like, oh my gosh, these bags are so pretty. No, I don't need one right now. And then you're gone forever. So that could be a way to think of it and really make sure you get your money's worth.
One other little caveat too, though, with the giveaways is personally for me, my stuff is priced at a level, and also the time and the effort it takes me to make stuff, I'm not giving it away.
Right.
It's just not gonna happen. So.
And I love this because it's bringing us to our next question, and I'm going to be super interested to hear your answer to this. So, do you find it difficult to price your work at a point that you feel people will pay, whilst valuing the time and effort you put into it and make a living from it? And I'd love to hear kind of your history of pricing, because I have a feeling like there went like on an upward slope, and I know that especially with Etsy there's a big comparison trap and people on Etsy price their stuff really low, so when you're working with leather and you're working with these higher end materials,
and then if you want to get into wholesale too, I will say today I unapologetically price my things exactly where I want them to price them. But it took time to get there. It took time, and it also takes selling enough stuff and getting the positive feedback, and also, just hearing from customers that they understand the quality of what you're doing. They get it. They get all the work that goes into it. That definitely helps encourage and boost you. I have a lot of friends that struggle with price and underprice their stuff because and a lot of them are jewelry designers. Jewelry is super competitive. I never price my stuff based on looking at how it compares to other people, especially on Etsy, because there's so much, and there's a lot of stuff on there that I think is not handmade that passes. Like I can sniff out all that not handmade people easily, but that's their thing.
That's for Etsy to go after.
No, with pricing, it's been an evolution though, because I had things priced not for wholesale. I just started working with leather, and that's when things started getting expensive. Materials started getting expensive. Started working with leather the summer of 2010. It had to be. So it's been about a little over 2.5 years. I'm doing my math right. And so it was a little bit tough with pricing then, because I had some fabric bags still mixed in, and just the pricing tier was a little bit messy and uneven. And so I sort of felt like I was doing tug of war, where I would have things priced at a higher level, but then I'd go do an outdoor market and say 20% off everything just today only, which would, make it more palatable for people to buy. I think it just took the time and the experience of selling enough stuff, but also just properly marketing and properly photographing, and if I sell a bag that's going to be over $200 and then I do the photography on the website, it has to look like this glamorous aspirational bag that somebody would be like, it's perfect for me. I pay 200 or however much more money for it. So it kind of, you need to make sure that price it what it's worth, price it what you feel you want to pay for it, and if you're doing wholesale, price it so that with the wholesale price you're getting what you feel it's worth, but also make sure you're marketing your stuff in a way that makes that price believable to the consumer. And also what I'm trying to do now too is make sure that people clearly understand, especially when they see me at an outdoor market, people don't make the connection about that I make it by hand, that I make it myself. So what I'm trying to do now with my marketing at these outdoor shows, these outdoor venues, is I'm actually starting to trying to figure out how I want to do this, but I want to take some pictures and show me working in my studio, show me at my sewing machine, and have maybe a little like section that has a quick biography, but then just shows a picture of me doing it. And because it's all you. I get asked so many times, like, oh, do you make this, or who, where are these produced, or or people are shocked when I tell them I make
where are they produced? Right here.
Yeah. So it's not, it doesn't just come to people. They don't just understand that. And so on one hand, it's a compliment that people, in a way, think this can't be handmade. It looks really good. But on the other hand, it's a lost opportunity for me to really prove to people, there's a lot more that goes into this, than you think.
So it sounds like it's part of it is branding and making sure that if you have a high-end product, that it looks like a high-end product, and you're packaging it as a high-end product, and then also kind of telling your story and seeing, and paying attention to what people ask you.
Yeah,
it's interesting too. So being out in different markets and hearing the questions and seeing what don't people still know, what do you want to put at the forefront?
Yeah, no, it's that balance, because I want it to look like a high-end product, but I also want it to be clear that it's it's handmade.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we don't have any more questions, so guys, feel free to still put them in. We'd have time for another question or two, but I want to ask you, because I know you prepped for this, and I'm so curious for your answer. Oh, she's so good. She prepped for this whole thing. What would you now want to tell the you of 5 years ago that the you of 5 years ago didn't know?
I think I would have. Gosh, there's so much. I think I would have told myself not to be scared. Because we all want to feel like it's going to be safe. I mean, I still got to tell myself that to this day, because every as things grow, there new challenges come up. Don't be afraid of growth. Weirdly enough, I'm somebody that really has to. I definitely don't hold myself back. I see a lot of people do self-sabotage for themselves, because on one hand they want success, on the other hand they're so afraid of the additional responsibility and attention and everything that comes with that. So I think what I would have told myself is just, probably just to plan a little bit better, even. Probably just to be a little bit more buttoned up. And also too, just to trust that, if you're working hard, if you're keeping your head up, if you're looking for the right people to include in your circle, if you're looking for mentors, if you're, you need to be seeking these things and these people out. You can't just do this in isolation. You're not going to have all the answers. And there's, the thing is, there's so much out there. There's so much, and it's not just going on the internet, but there's also, there's classes out there you can take, and, like business classes or marketing classes, social media, how to do social media. Because it's so much more widespread, I think, for people to want to start their own business now, and
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Thank God. Why I have a job.
Yeah, that the resources are out there. Now, one thing I do want to say though is, like, there's a ton of information out there, and there could be major information overload. So I mean, on one hand, because you could spend your whole day reading blogs and reading a different person's take on how to run their business. Really figure out. I would say I would have told myself, sit down and figure out specifically what is it that you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, you want to sell bags. You want to be able to do this for a living. But do you want to do this primarily online? Do you want to do primarily wholesale? Do you like doing these outdoor markets? Do you want to do collaborations with people? Do you want to get to a point where you're going to need to outsource and have like a staff working for you? You just kind of even just ask yourself these basic questions and sort of forge a path, and then use that to kind of start looking for the advice that you want to look for online and the people that you want to talk to.
So smart.
It helps to narrow things down a little bit.
You know, it's a blessing. I say all the time, it's a blessing and a curse being an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur in the 21st century, because there's so many options that sometimes, like, you know, it was probably simpler when, you know, before the internet, when, like, if you wanted to make handbags, like, you would know that the traditional route, and it would only be probably wholesale orders, and that would kind of be it. But now we have
you'd
all
have to
these
go
options.
you'd have to go to design school, and then you'd have to follow that path, and then come up with a collection every, you know, every season, and then come up with designs and be ready like months in advance, or I don't even know what the timeline is. It's like a year and a half in advance, and then get your samples made and send it off to China, or, you know, a third world country, and have it manufactured and cross your fingers and hope it comes back okay. And that's still actually the process that a lot of people do follow today, but
that's
they're trying to change it
for them. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like there's this movement, at least here in New York, where people are they don't want to lose the capability to do that, but they want to keep it local. They want more control over the production process, and that's I think where, for me, if it becomes the next step, it can't go anywhere beyond here. I need, you know, I don't want to send it overseas. I want to keep it here. I want to support the local economy, but also be able to. I'll never want to not have my hands in this business, physically making something. But I also don't want that to hold me back. So I need to. Where I'm at right now too is I'm looking at, how do I grow but still keep this as a business that I want to keep doing, that's not suddenly I'm handing it off and I'm just signing checks or
it's scaling. It's scaling, and that's hard. And I know people that, you know, love to just kind of be at the helm and say, like, I'm happy to delegate everything except for, like, the most high level stuff. But normally, as creative Renaissance solely people, which we tend to be, we have a lot of different interests, and what we like about our business is working in all these kind of different ways. So, you know, we were talking before off camera about how that would probably make the most sense for the next step in your business, is to outsource not necessarily send it to China, but find someone to actually sew the bags while you're still designing and shopping for the leather and blah blah blah.
Or even just have somebody like come and just cut material for me, maybe half the battle.
You know, I think, and that to me just screams like it's baby steps. It doesn't have to be so extreme. So just like kind of how you quit your job, it's the same thing. Like, you don't have to necessarily say, okay, now I'm not going to sew any more bags. I'm going to give all of that away. I'm going to spend all that money and someone else to do it. And instead it could be, I could have one person come in 6 hours a week to cut my leather. Like,
done.
You know, that's where it needs to be going. I think sometimes to be a bit more palatable.
No, definitely it has to be baby steps. I think that's one of the bigger challenges I'm dealing with right now. Learning to let go.
Yeah, you know, and if you know that something doesn't work for you or doesn't feel right to you, I mean, I talk to my clients all the time about this too. Like, you might think that you have to sell online in order to have a profitable business at this point, and you don't. There are plenty of people that have profitable businesses that only do outdoor markets and wholesale orders that maybe just have a basic website, so when they give someone a card, you know where to find them, but that website only has, like, here are the stores you could find my stuff. There's do it however you want.
I know people that do things in all different ways. You know, what they choose to make their main source of income could be totally different than what I do. All I know is I like online because for me it's the direct sale. I'm getting all of the money, not 50% wholesale cut, and it's just it's more, you know, just I package it up, I ship it out, done.
You do it all.
Not hauling a bunch of heavy equipment and inventory to an outdoor market. It's a lot easier.
You want to give a shout out to Manufacturing New York? I'm so excited.
So they just finished their Indiegogo campaign, but yesterday.
Oh, really? So I just got under the wire?
Yeah, you did. You just squeaked in.
But I'm glad I did it.
We'll have to include the URL for it. But for anybody in New York area, if you're a local designer and you're looking to find some resources, and even if you're not local, it's just, I think, would be really good to stay in the loop.
Such a great idea. This is so innovative.
This is kind of a model for what they're hoping can expand throughout the U.S. But basically, what they're trying to do is sort of have a contained, one-stop shop for design, for production, the resources, the teachers, the designers. Basically one spot, one location here in Brooklyn, where if you're a designer, like basically how it appeals for somebody like me is it's studio space. I can go and use their equipment. I pay a monthly fee. But if I decide that I want to scale up and start doing local production, where do I start? Right. I didn't go to design school. I don't really know anything about the logistics of how any of this works. This is my tribe of people here at the Ready that have the advice that can help me not only figure out how to navigate the waters of local production, but also even just kind of tailoring it to how I would want to do it. I don't want to produce 1,000 units. Maybe I only need, I don't know, a couple hundred or something, or not even that much. Just basically we'll have to put the URL up, but yeah, it's a really amazing project. They just finished their fundraising campaign. It's going to launch in June, and I'm one of the designers that's going to be a part of it. So I'm really, really excited. So it's the perfect timing too, as my business is growing. It's giving me access, and it also kind of drives the point home too that you're always going to need help. You're always going to need to find people to help you out. You can't do any of this alone. You need to find your community and really, lean on them, rely on them, and ask those questions. There are a lot more people out there willing to help than you think.
I want to end on that note. I think I got the chills a little bit. It's so true, and I think that it's just so important to hear. And I know, I just thinking back to what we were talking about before we went on the air too. It's investments. And sometimes it's really scary to spend that money, but when you know it's an investment and you know that it's trust into your business kind of in monetary form, and that things are going to come back to you because you're putting that time and money and effort into something that you know is going to lead to good results. It could be scary to put that up front, but always the next step. Super exciting. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Yay. Again, you could check out Lauren at Lolafalk.com. It's in the chat. You could check me out at whenIgrowupcoach.com. On Thursday on my blog is when you'll see the recording. You'll see all this stuff. And if you want to know more about grown-up gigs, which I do twice a month, and my next grown-up gig is with Vanessa Caridi, who's an opera singer. Ooh. It's the coolest job ever.
Tune in for that one.
Yay. It's going to be really, really fun. I think we're talking on April 25th, but you could go to whenIgrowupcoach.com/GUG for grown-up gigs, and you could get the rundown of who I've talked to already and who you could get recordings of and who I'm going to talk to, and sign up for reminders, and it's super awesome. So thank you. You're wonderful.
Thank you. Right back at you, babe.
Bye, guys. You're wonderful,
Bye, guys.
too. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.